Pokemon games are changing forever. It's time for the latest news out of Japan. During an interview held at Pokemon World, Pokemon Company COO Takato Utsunomiya implicitly confirmed that he and his staff have taken the criticism Scarlet and Violet received to heart. The games were heavily criticized for what many consider poor visuals, and with that and other points of concern in mind, Utsunomiya admitted that the company has started talking internally about how to balance the speed of releasing new games and the quality of their work. Fans have taken this to mean the Pokemon Company is willing to slow down the release schedule, no longer dropping new games as frequently as before. Many Pokemaniacs are surprisingly on board with that, happy to wait longer for higher quality releases. And that alone says a lot about the state of the community. However, reading Utsunomiya's words directly, it's clear that's not what the chief operating director actually has in mind. Game Freak and the Pokemon Company can't outright stop releasing new games, and they're not planning to slow down. They just need a way to improve the production pipeline. And looking at their past work, there's an obvious path forward for Game Freak, one that the rest of Nintendo has been pioneering: increased use of third-party developers. Nintendo has been increasingly willing to let outside studios use their characters in recent years. The Luigi's Mansion games go over to Next Level Games being a big example. Even Canadian independent studio Brace Yourself Games was able to make a Zelda game, Cadence of Hyrule. Pokemon's always been happy to entrust spin-off games to other development teams, titles like New Pokemon Snap or the Mystery Dungeon franchise. So far, however, Game Freak has almost always been solely responsible for the major releases. Even outside the main series, games like Legend Arceus and Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee were handled internally by the studio. The only exceptions were Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, remakes that were made by ILCA, and those games were not exactly well received. Still, with the heavy discourse that faced Scarlet and Violet's buggy release, letting other companies take focus with higher profile spin-offs is starting to seem more and more like a good idea, one numerous fans are suggesting. Any development studio would kill for the chance to work on a big budget Pokemon game. There's a lot of support for Xenoblade developers Monolith Soft trying to make an open world Pokemon title, and Danganronpa developers Spike Chunsoft have a long-standing great relationship with Game Freak thanks to the Mystery Dungeon franchise. They'd doubtless be happy to go even deeper with a new Pokemon project. While there's a bunch of options, however, one name stands above the rest: Koei Tecmo. The developers behind the Dynasty Warriors series have already taken two major Nintendo franchises under their wing, producing Hyrule Warriors and Fire Emblem Warriors. Both of these games were major releases for Nintendo, proper AAA titles that made use of their major IP, and were well received by fans. Both got well-regarded sequels too: Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity and Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. Could the magic strike a third time? Is the world finally ready for Pokemon Warriors? Well, maybe. It's strange out there right now. People even think One Piece's most jaw-dropping animation ever is AI generated.